You know, when Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird created the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is such a unique, crazy idea, after they came up with, hey, we're going to create some big turtles who are ninjas, well, who are they going to fight? I know. Let's make a humanoid rhinoceros and give him a gun. Oh, that's not good enough. Let's add a robot. As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we're giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. It's Mr. X. Today on the Extreme channel, we are looking at a quarter scale Rocksteady statue. Yes, this is Rocksteady from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles world. So TMNT, a lot of people know it from different places. Some people know it from the comics. Others know it from the 90s cartoon. Some know it from the movies. Heck, they also come in video games. But Rocksteady is one of the quintessential villains within this world. Now, recently, I did a room tour at another collector's house. You can check out the video right here. And he had the entire line by PCS, Premium Collectible Services, I think that's what they're called, who made these. And when I saw it in person, I was blown away. Not only Rocksteady here, but all the other pieces. Believe it or not, it actually caused me to go ahead and get this piece, the Last Ronin statue, which Rocksteady's not a part of that story, but I'm a sucker for what's called Sideshow Seconds. So PCS, who made this statue, they distribute through a company called Sideshow. And there's a link in the description below if you want to buy anything from Sideshow, but they have a website, you can Google it, Sideshow Seconds, where if they have to put a different outer box on it, they're going to give you 15% off the statue, which is pretty good. So I've been collecting a lot of the characters, and you're going to see a ton of reviews to come. And as I said, while this really won't go with the Ronin statue, I'm still going to display them together because, unfortunately, all the original quarter-scale turtles are pretty much all sold out other than Leonardo, and I don't want to go track those down. And I'm confident, or at least hopefully confident, that they are going to make some more characters in the line, especially like Casey Jones. So, again, I have more of these coming. If you want to see what those look like, make sure you've not only subscribed to the channel, hit the bell notification, and that's it. I thought there was more. But anyway, so today we're going to dive in. We're going to do a review on Rocksteady. I am very pleased with him. While he's not as good as that Last Ronin statue, I love this. It's bringing some of my childhood to life and even some of my adulthood to life. So with that, let's talk about him a little bit. So if you don't know who this is, he is a rhinoceros that was affected just like the turtles by a mutagen, is that how it's pronounced? Mutagen, and became a humanoid rhino. So him and his counterpart, Bebop, are most known for doing Shredder's bidding. If you don't know who Shredder is, I appreciate you watching this because that means you know nothing about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and you're just here to see me.
It's just not enough. Oh, man.
And Bebop and Rocksteady aren't the sharpest tools in the shed, but they have a lot of power. Very strong, very good warriors. And just in case their strength ain't going to do it, as you see, he has a wooden sword, because that would hold up well, I guess. Grenades and a big gun. And then in front of him, you actually see a retrieval robot, probably built by Baxter Stockman. Now, you may or may not know who that is, depending if you like turtles. And that's what we're going to review today. So let's do it starting with the concept. Now, we're going to focus more on Rocksteady. This retrieval robot we'll talk more about in design. I believe most of these have a very similar matching base. That's what you see at the bottom. It's just a plain street level base. You see the under parts of the street below it. Nothing really exciting, nothing really amazing. And Rocksteady is in a little bit of a mix between a museum and a dynamic stance. More of a museum in my opinion, but he's hunched over. He's clearly in battle. You know he's in battle because he has his fatigues on. He has all of his weapons armored up. He has a gun. He is ready to shoot. And above that, a very fierce look in his face. Now, a lot of times there's a little bit of a comical aspect to Rocksteady. I'm glad they didn't do that. It's more serious here. I don't think I would have bought it if he had a comical expression on his face. Although he does look goofy with the hat and visor, of course. I like it a lot. I think they did a really good job. You know, the thing about this we're going to talk about during Paint and Sculpt, it's kind of a mix between animation and a little bit of realism touched in there, and I think that was done great. So while the concept isn't amazing or exciting, and I think the robot does add a little bit to it, if you buy this version, there's a few different versions we're going to talk about, I think the concept's a 3 out of 5. You get what you pay for. It's nothing extraordinary, but it's not bad either. 3 out of 5 is good on the Extreme Channel scale. Design. I do like a lot of stuff they did here. I had no issues with mine, which was great. So let's look at the unboxing and assembly. And normally with Sideshow Seconds, I get a different shipper, but this looks to be the original shipper. The art box was torn on the inside. I didn't get a picture of the tear, but it is on the back side there. So this is what the art box looks like. Pretty cool. I'm not a fan of art boxes, but a lot of people do like them. Has a picture of the statue. PCS has branded straps over the foam, and it was 2 layers. Shipping was pretty cheap on this. It was like 30 bucks or so. So here's the first layer. A lot more pieces than I thought there would be. And then the second layer, everything wrapped in wax and plastic. Alright, so believe it or not, he was bigger than I thought he would be.
That's what she said.
Not necessarily height, but I think just how wide he is. So the total width of the statue is about 13.5 inches. Again, you can check out Sideshow's website. The base depth is about 8. If you include the gun, it goes to about 16. Then the highest point is about 15.25 or so, give or take. Again, check out Sideshow's website for exact dimensions. Now, everything fit really well, and I like how they did that. You saw that during the assembly. And there's little things going on, like the grenade in the back inserts, but it looks like it's attached to his... Okay, maybe the design isn't the best. It's a little top heavy. This right here, I actually had to take apart the chain, flip it, so it would fit in nicely. And then also you had to put both arms in at the same time. So a few challenges, but nothing you can't get past. Now I was going to give it a 5 out of 5 on design, but knowing how easily this flips over, I think that knocks it to a 4 out of 5. Thankfully it doesn't look like this was damaged, and I'm not looking that close, because if it was, there's nothing I can do about it. So paint and sculpt. Depending what your flavor is, you may or may not like it. Check out what I'm talking about. Now, remember, as we dive into this, the paint and sculpt is very reminiscent of the animation mixed with a very real lifeism. I was going to say realism, but that's probably not right. So like many statues, they have a street base, and underneath that, they kind of show what would be the dirt or mud underneath it. You know, a lot of times people go too dark. I think this is a little bit too light, but nothing I would actually be worried over. The texture looks fine, doesn't look great. The top of the street, much more of a cartoony animation feel in my opinion. Maybe it's due to a lack of texture, but just I think really takes it to, hey, this is from the 90s cartoons or even, you know, the video games. I do like that it's cracked molding underneath his feet like we talked about in the concept. I mean, obviously he weighs a lot. I think that's pretty cool. Let's take a look at the deluxe right here. I like this. It's a really light gray, so it's not white, but a really light gray, and then the darker grays really contrast well with it. And again, has that animation feel, I'll probably say quite a few times during the review. And a few vents on the side. So it looks really good. It looks like it's flowing too. A lot of movement to it, which I think is cool. And the gray that it is, both on the tentacles coming out and on his body, are different than Rocksteady, which I think is important. So Rocksteady, you're not going to see a lot of micro detail or texture in his clothing. Like I said, I think that takes away from a 2D image that we're normally used to seeing. So I don't know if I would have liked that or not, but knowing that they did without that, I still think they did a great job. The way his pants billow, the cow spots in them, I think are really neat. You still see creases in his shoes where he's bending over. And then how all the pieces interlock with him, I think are really neat. It looks like that grenade is actually attached when truly it's not. More of a design thing. The wood sword could be better. However, it's on his back, so I'm not losing sleep over that by any means. Same thing with the yellow shirt, like I talked about, you can see the folds and ripples, how it contours to his body. I think that's great. A little bit of bleeding in the paint right there. Thankfully, it's in the back. Now, they didn't go overly texturized with his rhino skin, and I think that fits the rest of the statue. They could have made it more rock hard or almost scaly, and they didn't, but really nice anatomy in his arms here. Clean paint job like around the nails and how the gun sits in. Now, the color of the gun is an interesting choice. It's not quite what the deluxe part is, but almost is, or the exclusive. So, and there is some shading in it, but I think it fits the character well. So despite all those grays and light grays and whites, I think it still looks really good. I like the flow of his hat. We'll look at his portrait in a second here. Really gives more motion to the statue, I think. This grenade belt that he has looks okay. Like I said, there's some bleed over in it. Doesn't look like real leather or anything, but stays again with that animation theme. The anatomy is probably the best part in this, in my opinion, and the portrait. They did a really great job with the portrait. I'm assuming the eyes are decal because they're so clean, but they look really good. A lot of times I don't like decals. I think these are nice. They look really good. Hard to even tell that they're decals is what I mean by that. I like how his teeth, there's a little bit different shading on it. His horn has that shiny enamel to it. And then you see his lips. And even like the lines around his eyes really give a lot of definition and texture to this portrait. And gives him kind of that glaring look. So overall, I like it a lot. I really, really do. I don't know if it's going to go well with that Ronin piece. Because that had more of a realistic feel in my opinion. This has more of an animation tie, but I think as a standalone with some of the other pieces I'm getting, it's gonna be absolutely amazing. So let's check out what the final grades are. Let's start with the paint. I think you get what you pay for. I think it's a 3 out of 5. It's nothing amazing, nothing to write home about. I do like the different colors and how they did those different shades, but I wouldn't go above and beyond and say it's a 4 out of 5. Sculpt, because they chose to stay close to that animation like we kept talking about, or really, I kept talking about it. You were just listening and watching. Kind of creepy. I will give the Sculpt a 4 out of 5, knowing they were still going for that animation feel, and you don't see some of the details you would normally see. Now, value is a little tough for me on this. It's really tough, actually, because this is from PCS. PCS is a company that for years was kind of behind the 8 ball, and their statues were much cheaper than other people's, which was great. However, they're not playing that game anymore. So they're about the same price as Sideshow for a quarter scale. This was around $650. The regular version, which we'll talk about in a second, was $20, $25 cheaper. And of course, I was able to get 15% off for Sideshow seconds. Now they made 800. 300 have this retrieval robot right here. The other 500 do not. So you only pay about $25 for this. That is a steal. Now, what's really interesting with this edition size, this isn't sold out yet. Like I said, there's a link in the description below. You can actually buy it. But Bebop is. And to me, when I saw it in Jem's collection, this was a much better statue than Bebop. So I jumped on the waiting list. I'm not too terribly... I would speculate I could pick up the Bebop exclusive on the aftermarket. I feel like this is not a standalone piece people would buy. It's only for people buying the entire line. Or a good portion of the line. So I think it's a 3 out of 5 on value, too. You might be able to get your money back, but I think that's at best. Now, thankfully, I don't plan to sell it for a while. Like I said, this is kind of my new line. I'm all in. And I have owned turtle statues in the past. Again, you can check out some of those other reviews. Now, does he have the X Factor? Is he a 5 out of 5 statue? Now, some people are confused by this. What is this final ranking? Is it an average of the other rankings? Is it even based off that? It's not. It's just saying, overall, how much do I like this? While most of the grades on this were 3 out of 5, I think I like it more than that. It's not a 5 out of 5 statue. It's not one of the best in my collection, but I think it's definitely a 4 out of 5. I do dig this a lot. Like I said, maybe I'll feel differently if I eventually get Bebop, but I have a few more coming, so make sure to stay tuned for those reviews. But it's a 4 out of 5 for me for sure. Definitely glad I picked it up, and I think the retrieval robot kind of puts it over to that next level, guarantees that 4 out of 5. Now throw this in the comments below. What's your favorite from this entire line from PCS, or do you like the new 1/3 scale better? People ask me a lot, am I getting that new 1/3 scale? I'm not, simply due to space, because this is going to take up a ton of space in quarter scale. Think of buying all the characters in 1/3 scale. Plus, I feel like that's a commitment very far down the road, and I don't do shit like that. Probably why I got married. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Throw your comments below. Let me know what you think. I really appreciate you guys watching. I say it every time, but it's really, really true. Could you tell that I had to throw up this entire review? Pretty good, huh? Now I really got to go, though.